How could you question if Trump isn't for real when the entire corrupt, evil system of the world is trying to bring him down? Ladies and gentlemen, we wanted a president to stand up against the globalists. We wanted a president to actually be president and make the major decisions. And that is now happening. And so all the special interests that had hijacked this nation are now in an information war of lies and deception against our president. Colonel Schaefer, the former head of the operations against al-Qaeda and a former CIA analyst as well, has gone public saying that the president is in an information war and a battle with criminal elements of the deep state to take him out. And he must realize he's in a war and must have a battle plan. We're going to go to that clip coming up in the next segment. Part of that battle plan, obviously, is to remove the president so that they can punish the nationalists in this country and send us a message that we'll never again be allowed to actually run our country or be in control of it. Look at the CNBC headline. Dow drops 250 points. S&P and NASDAQ fall 1% as Trump worries sends shivers down Wall Street. And you can see behind me, if you're watching on television, exactly what's happening with the Dow Jones plunging for the first time in the last 4 or 5 months. Because with Trump, we're going to have better business deals. With Trump, we're going to have cheaper energy. With Trump, we're going to have an open for business mentality. With Trump, we're going to have someone that actually is looking out for free market systems. The problem is the globalists want a crony capitalist operation. Now, I know you, the listeners and viewers, know this. But I got on the phone with Dr. Corsi and others this morning, and I said, we have to have a battle plan for the American people and for good people in Congress and for the governors and for the legislators and for others to take action as aggressively as we can within the law against these globalists, because this is a fifth column. In between writing articles about how they want to overthrow the president, you've got New Yorker magazine, a very elite publication, saying we should have never had America, and America's evil, and George Washington was bad, and an image of a Minuteman sitting on top of a world of skulls. So the world is a horrible place where the United States produces most of the wealth in the world so that 48% of the population don't have to work, and then call for Trump's impeachment because he dare get $3 trillion in the stock market and hundreds of millions of new jobs for them to suck off of. But again, there is an evil instinct to the parasites that they want to dominate and they want to control and they want to run the other 52% that actually produces. And they have a crazed, out of their mind mentality that they're in an existential battle. They're like a drowning person, projecting all their problems, all their issues onto us, and it's legendary. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to break down when we come back from break what the president needs to do. I'm going to lay out the latest news, but here's the deal. Obama committed massive crimes starting in his second administration, ordering ICE to let illegals pour into the United States. They covered it up by saying, oh, it's children. No, it was 17% below the age of 18. Didn't vet them for diseases, anything. Didn't even care about them. It was about getting rid of the border, setting a precedent. That right there was an impeachable offense, but Congress didn't do anything. We went down to the border and broke that news with emergency managers admitting it on tape and Border Patrol telling us on video. InfoWars broke that. That's why they hate the fact we're here, because we'll bring on information nobody else will touch because it is so powerful, because it is so dangerous. He ordered, under dereliction of duty, the Border Patrol to ignore the law and to let people in. The FBI, Comey, didn't do jack diddly squat about that. But, oh, in a meeting, he's there with the president saying, gee, I sure hope, in your case, that you're able to drop this on Flynn. Didn't say you're ordered to drop it. Didn't say, I'm the president, I'm telling you to do this. That would be obstruction. He said, gee, I sure hope we can get this moving forward. I think he's a good guy, don't you? FBI director, yeah, I think he's a great guy. That's the transcript, supposedly. They turned that into Trump's the threat. No, Trump's the threat to the globalist. That's why they want him gone. Stay with us. It was about a month and a half ago in March that Atlantic Monthly, one of the most elite globalist publications where they actually communicate with each other, like Foreign Affairs or New Yorker Magazine or the Financial Times of London. Pretty much everything else is for public consumption. And if you read The New Yorker, if you read Atlantic Monthly, if you read The Economist, that's another one, they are openly saying overthrow Trump, kill Trump, and use continuity of government to remove the entire Tea Party Freedom Caucus, claiming they're all Russian agents, and use the military to do it. Now, at that time, when I covered the article Rewriting the Rules of Presidential Succession, you notice I told you months before they'd use COG. And they'd use the parallel FEMA government that's designed originally, if we get hit with a nuclear attack or an asteroid or a mass plague, whatever the case may be, that there's an emergency backup government. But always that emergency backup government can then plan in parallel and with funding to create their own coup d'etat. And this happens in many other nations. And there's been behind-the-scenes attempts at using COG previously to bring down Ronald Reagan. In fact, the COG intended him to die in 1981. He didn't die from the gunshot wound. And so the deep state that had become activated by Alexander Haig then had to pull back. And, of course, it was Alexander Haig, who many experts believe was deep throat, that helped bring down Nixon as well, along with Naval Intelligence Officer Bob Woodward. This time it's a little bit different because a lot of the deep state is actually for Trump, wants Americana, wants prosperity, and doesn't want the destruction of this country. Now, here's what I'm going to lay out for you today. Several big points, and I hope that Congress listens. I hope that the president listens. I hope you listen. I hope our radio affiliates listen. I hope foreign governments listen. I hope the whole world pays attention, because I've studied how our government really works. I've studied the deep state, used that term 20-plus years ago. Shadow government I used 20-plus years ago, because those are real terms that were there starting back in the 50s. I just became aware of it in the last 25 years. And so they love to call me a conspiracy theorist and just throw that out there. But if you turn on the news now, Fox News, they're saying information wars being used against the president in an attempt to overthrow him so multinationals can take over the United States. You tune over to CNN, Dana Bash goes, yeah, this is deep state revenge against Trump. We're taking over. Chucky Schumer's out there saying, the intelligence community's got 6 ways to Sunday to bring you down, Trump. Better watch your butt. Globalism, world government, carbon taxes, one-child policies, AI supercomputers, total surveillance. Everything I laid out 20 years ago is now water cooler talk. Every single day. Now, everybody might want to hear what's coming next, because I'm going to tell you the different avenues we've got here, kind of like those novels you read back in junior high that have choose your own adventure, that have 3 or 4 different endings. Let me go through the different scenarios that we're going to go down here. And it could be a mix of several of these, but I'm going to tell you exactly where we were, where we are, and boy, lordy, to quote the former FBI director, where we're going. And I suggest everyone get out pencils and paper, and I suggest everybody have a real discussion about this, and people look into what I'm going to say, what we're going to put on screen, and the clips we're going to play, because they're not planning a soft coup if they're successful taking out Trump. They're going to shut down the independent media. They're going to charge people. They're going to arrest people. They're going to re-educate people. That is all in the current Pentagon manuals. Why do you think the Pentagon got upset and helped put Trump in? Because they knew what the next phase was with Hillary, shutting down the press, arresting her opposition en masse. And it's not that the military and even the smarter guys at the CIA are angels. They understand it will trigger an extended, long-term, bloody, hot war in this country. So there are people that want stability, they want free market, they want prosperity. It's better for America, it's better for the world. Socialism, collectivism, crony capitalism is a nightmare and only works for the 1/10 of 1%. So the people that just want stability in business and don't want to mount America's head on the wall, they're trying desperately to block the next phase. See, Trump's just holding back what was already about to be put in place. So I'm going to lay down the facts. I'm going to lay them out. Where we've been, where we are, where we're going. But let me just give you a basic summation here. In the last 4 or 5 months, I've told you, since he was president-elect, this is a deep state coup d'etat operation to undermine him, to destroy him in the public eye first, and then they're not going to let Trump go to prison or even step down. They know he won't. They're going to kill him. And the best minds agree with me. They're going to kill him at the peak of the investigation. Donald Trump is a dead man. He's a dead man. He's dead. He's walking dead right now unless we counter this. Because I'm not just going to lay out where we've been, where we are, where we're going. We can change where we're going if we admit how much trouble we're in. And let me say something else to everybody. A lot of you claim you want to fight tyranny. A lot of you claim you wanted free market. A lot of you claim you want to be American. Our forebears had to fight bloody wars for what we've got. If you won't fight information war, if you won't spend money in this fight, if you won't buy time on local radio, if you won't call C-SPAN, if you won't put billboards up, if you won't go talk to your state house, if you won't go talk to your Congress people in D.C. and get them by the hand and tell them you know what's going on, and if they go along with this takeover of America, they're going to be held accountable. If you don't do that, we're going to lose the information war, and then we don't have any recourse but to defend ourselves. Because let me tell you something. These people, these globalists, they want us. They have said they want to snuff us out once and for all. This is an existential war you're in. The very same Bolsheviks that came out of New York and London and Paris and major German cities like Berlin that took over Russia and exterminated the Christians en masse. That same disease is in America and plans a hot Bolshevik war. David Horowitz was brought up in New York City by parents that came out of this, and he'll warn you all day. They want to kill everybody. And I'm just telling you right now, they mean business. They will line you and your family up, and they'll shoot you in the head, and they'll rape your daughters, and they'll kill your sons, and they'll make your wife work in a field till she dies. So you want to understand where we're at? We've got the Bolshevik Revolution 2.0 with a crazy Nazi collaborator, George Soros, who you know is making money. They knew as soon as this impeachment stuff got launched, and as soon as Republicans started getting on board, the stock market started plunging. You can bet every red cent in your little piggy bank George Soros is making a bunch of money today off this. But that's okay because he's a Nazi collaborator. He's above the law. It's okay for Obama to open the borders up and ignore the law and bring in illegals and bring in folks with diseases and not even vet them and violate all these federal laws because he's above the law. Oh, but Trump probably, might have said, oh, I hope you can see it through, in your own research. I hope that we don't have to charge him with anything. That's the president, but anybody could say, I sure hope that nothing's here. I hope this doesn't have to go forward. I think he's a great guy. I don't think he did anything. That's the president's free speech. That's not even obstruction of justice, but the president says that's not accurate and what wasn't said, and that's why he's got it recorded. And notice, no one gets to see the memo. No one knows who said it. It's okay, though, because the deep state says so. So we're going to lose this whole country because the globalists want to militarily, politically capture it. They already had it partially captured. That's where we've been, controlled for decades, manipulated, all these cowards put in positions of power, all these big oligarch combines of corporations and groups that are milking us and consolidating control and shutting down their competition and dumbing down the population to secure their victory. None of them ever stick their head up above the grass, though. They all just, as a combine, commit their crimes and slowly take over society. And now we got to the point where they want to bring in millions of unwashed radical Islamists. And they want to further break up our families. And they want to tell us there are no genders, male and female existing are bad and hurt others. This is all happening. And Mother's Day is banned. And so they want to fully conquer us as a civilization, use what's left of America's wealth and power to expand their unelected corporate world government. So that's where we are. but their carbon taxes are getting killed. Their foreign multinational TPP of total takeover of congressional power is killed by President Trump. The coal they turned off is killed by Trump. He's making it cool to be American again. He's bringing sovereignty back. He's bringing wealth back. So you don't want to be the 48% that don't work, because you can make a lot of money actually working. He's turning the engine of liberty back on, the engine of Renaissance, and they're panicking. That's where we are. And all their propaganda and all their lies got defeated, and patriots in the government, like Seth Rich and the Democratic Party, burned them and exposed what criminals they are. And now the whole deep state and the EU and the Vatican and the communist Chinese, all of them are focused against America. All the forces of Mordor against Midas Tirith, if you want to use the archetypal example of Lord of the Rings. All the power focused to bring us down once and for all and to destroy Trump. And if Trump falls, make no mistake, our chances of fixing things peacefully are falling. America's dying. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to explain this very, very slowly and very, very clearly. We have to break down what's currently happening in America and all over the world. We have to lay out who the players are, and we have to, as citizens, develop battle plans to defend this republic and to defend other sovereign free market nations. Now, the good news is Australia went under pure carbon taxes and absolute open borders for a while. The public battled back, took their government back, and has reversed much of it. Same thing happened in England. Same thing's happening in Iceland. Italy has said no to EU expansion. Greece is battling back. Russia is battling back. Brazil is just, we can see the numbers on the metrics. Huge audience out of Brazil. And I get all sorts of letters and emails, and I just see it all over the web. Brazil knows about the New World Order and is just in total war against socialism, because they've seen Venezuela, they've seen Argentina, they've seen rich countries, as rich as the U.S., richer in the case of Argentina. Gone. Socialism. And it happens over a few generations, and then you're totally poor. And they're living in slums with huge, beautiful buildings that were built 50, 60, 70 years ago all around them, and wondering why their grandparents had electricity 24 hours a day and great culture and life and money, and then why they have nothing. Because you got sold out by socialism. Because they created a system where the elite live in palaces and then you have nothing. Socialism doesn't exist. It's a scam. But I digress, ladies and gentlemen. President Trump, I don't care that the president's called me and thanked me and I've talked to the president. It means nothing. I'm not into Hollywood. I'm not into famous people. I'm not defending Trump because he's like a sports team that I'm a fan of. Trump is the archetype of America now, standing bullish in the face of the tyrants, the intimidation, the demonization, the lies, them trying to rig the election against him, all the foreign money, all the foreign intelligence, all the horrible things done to his family, the weakness of many people in his family, but he still brings them along with him, the weakness of the people he pulls from in the Republican Party, but still delivering on the economy, delivering on sovereignty, delivering on standing against ISIS that Obama helped create, defending Christians, speaking out about the genocide of Christians, doing amazing things, getting a good Supreme Court justice in. So let me tell you, we've talked about the past and the present and what deep state's doing. I'll talk more about that in the next segment. But I want to talk about where we're going. They have said in the Atlantic Monthly and in the New Yorker magazine and now in Foreign Affairs and now in Public Affairs of the Washington Post, all the exact same thing, a battle plan on overthrowing Trump and then removing all the Republicans that got elected in the last election, claiming they're all Ruskies, and reversing it all. The awakening, the libertarian conservative Americana awakening that already has a phalanx beachhead in Congress and in the states and the legislatures, a total tsunami political realignment that only happens every 80 years or so on average. The third realignment in our history of the United States of America, the longest standing continual government in world history. Because it had a Constitution and Bill of Rights. Wasn't perfect, but was light years ahead of the rest. It now is teetering hanging by a thread. They love to use that term. We are hanging by a thread. And they're destroying the thread in real time. We're rebuilding the thread in real time. It is a epic battle of forces coming together right now. And everything you do is so critical. Because we're not fighting tyrants that just want to take over. They want to destroy our families. They want to take our guns. They want to take our private property because they want to social engineer us and run us and fly above us in their jumbo jets while we don't have air conditioning or cars or medicine or education or future. These are the most greedy, evil people at the UN and the Clinton Foundation and Obama. They go around to third world countries and rob them and run slave mines and do the most horrible stuff you can imagine, like Bono giving less than 1% of the billions he raises for African aid. These are the worst, most greedy, horrible, evil people the world has ever seen. And they see America as the ultimate engine of power. And if they can just get full control, and if they can just settle their score with the old American system and defeat us, defeat the Renaissance, the old America is the new world, is the future, is the new Atlantis. If they can just destroy that, they win. How could you question if Trump isn't for real when the entire corrupt, evil system of the world is trying to bring him down? And they invert reality and say he's backed by a foreign power that can barely run its own affairs, while the EU, the Vatican, the Communist Chinese, all these other countries, globalist groups, Hollywood, the big banks, are all waging war against Trump because he represents us. We are under attack.
In ancient times, man roamed the earth in a constant state of hunting or being hunted. Introducing Caveman, where cutting-edge science meets ancient super nutrients. Secure your bottle right now at InfoWarsStore.com.